Karl, you're looking pretty swish today.
I know, Brad. I guess the question I could ask is, do you think I'm sexy? Rod Stewart is primarily known for two things: releasing a bunch of kick-ass albums in the 70s and 80s, and being divorced so many times he once quipped to an interviewer, "Instead of getting married again, I'm just going to find a woman I don't like and give her a house." In some circles though, Rod isn't known for his music or even his impressive penile resume, and is instead known for his love of model trains, a hobby that saw the singer accidentally reveal that he was colourblind as shit.
Rod Stewart?
Yeah, sexiest man alive, Rod Stewart, get his name right.
Right, okay, sexy man alive Rod Stewart loves model trains.
Yes, Rod Stewart loves model trains. People out there might be thinking, oh, what has he got, like, you know, a couple of like trains that he likes to play around with every now and again? No, I mean Rod Stewart loves model trains to the point he has a train set the size of a fucking tennis court in his palatial LA mansion. And if you're still a little incredulous about how much Rod Stewart loves model trains, here's a picture of him posing with his baller as fuck model train set based on 1940s New York that he built himself. In addition to playing with his trains when he's on his own, Rod Stewart also has a clause in his rider when he's on tour that he should have a room next to his dressing room with a table in it specifically set aside so he can play with trains when he's bored or not railing a supermodel. That's how much this guy loves him some model goddamn trains. Before we continue talking about model trains, which I know everyone's really excited about, can we just talk about the existence of riders? Because I love them as a concept. If people don't know what a rider is, basically, if you're a musician or a celebrity and you're going to go to an event, you give the place like hosting the event a rider with all the shit you want on it that they have to provide to make you appear. And like most celebrities just say, oh, bottled water, some snacks, fruit and things like that. But some celebrities, like Rod Stewart, for example, take the fucking piss.
Was it Van Halen who used to ask for the certain coloured M&Ms to be taken out?
Yeah, that was a real thing they did, and it was because people probably heard the rumours going around the internet and they'd maybe not heard the full story on it. It's Van Halen would request a bowl of M&Ms in their dressing room with all the brown ones removed. But the reason for it was, I think they had a stage collapse at one event because someone didn't check their really specific instructions for how to set up the stage and how to wire all the sound equipment. Yeah. So they put in this stupid clause so they could walk into their dressing room and immediately know if everything on the contract had been read.
That's actually quite clever.
So they could walk in, rather than having to check all the really like sophisticated, complicated sound system stuff, they could look in their dressing room, okay, there's brown M&Ms in this bowl. They obviously haven't read the entire contract. We need to get out there and make sure everything's safe.
If I came backstage and I saw brown M&Ms on the catering table, then guaranteed the promoter had not read the contract writer, and we had to do a serious line check.
But obviously that's not funny, is it? So what they do is, oh, look at Van Halen, like this bunch of prissy prima donnas don't want to eat any brown M&Ms. Like, no, we just don't want a stage to collapse and kill us all.
That's much more interesting than someone just wanting them removed because they're a prissy bitch.
Yeah, but to like, you know, that's hard to put on like, you know, an image macro and then like share it on Twitter because you actually have to do some research. So most people don't know that version.
Be honest though, Karl, if you were that famous and you could have a rider request like those ones,
I'd much rather just say, just fill it with beer and I'm alright. Just the cheapest beer you can find. Get it on, and if you don't get it on special, I'm getting pissed and you're taking it back to the shops. I don't want you spending too much money.
Well, we've got Karl Smallwood staying. Oh, he's easy. He just wants stuff that's on sale.
He just wants a gift card to Wetherspoons. Getting back to Stewart and his love of model trains, along with owning a train set bigger than most people's first apartment, Stewart is a keen follower of the hobby and is always happy to talk shop with fellow enthusiasts, which has seen him being interviewed by Model Railroader magazine multiple times.
There's no way that's a real magazine.
Brad, it's a real magazine and it's interviewed Rod Stewart multiple times. And I should add that Rod Stewart considers being interviewed by Model Railroader magazine the highlight of his entire career.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. He said that in an interview with them.
He admitted that?
Yeah, in an interview with Model Railroad, an exclusive interview, I should add, with Model Railroad. He said he'd much rather talk to like a magazine like theirs than he would a music one. He's always happy to talk about model trains, but he hates talking about his music.
When your dad bought you your first guitar, it said that you actually would have preferred a nice train because you were so obsessed with model trains.
Still am.
While we're talking about this, Brad, just below me, I'd like to list some of like Rod Stewart's other accomplishments in his life and his accolades.
The things he considers less than that.
Less than being interviewed by Model Railroader magazine. although Model Railroader magazine has interviewed Rod Stewart multiple times, they almost never give him front page billing, and usually his interview appears somewhere near the back of the magazine. And my favourite example is one issue where they have like a little square saying, "We're talking shop with megastar Rod Stewart," turn to page 52. And I looked into it, and that interview with Rod Stewart is 8 pages after a guide on how to make a slightly tall factory. So in Model Railroader magazine's eyes, a guide on how to make a factory for a tiny train set is given more precedence in their magazine than an exclusive interview about the hobby with Rod fucking Stewart.
God, I bet he was so annoyed.
No, he understood because he loves the hobby. Like, he doesn't mind being put right at the back of a magazine. He just wants to talk about trains.
If you're that rich, you do have to find a hobby.
Yeah, but I love the idea, though, that he's so rich that he finds the most boring hobby. Like, he could have done anything. He could fight tigers. He's got the money. He could go paragliding while, like, balls deep inside a supermodel. Well, no, I just want to play with my model trains, man. That's all I want to do. Stewart is apparently so comfortable talking to Model Railroader magazine that in 2014 he accidentally let slip that he's colourblind as shit.
How did this happen?
Well, a snafu occurred when Stewart was explaining to the interviewer that he's very involved with the process of making his model train sets and told them that he likes to, add all the details himself. However, he does have to get someone else in to check his work because he accidentally sometimes paints his turf bright red.
Which would obviously have a few people going, why would you do that?
Yeah, obviously the interviewer asked him, incredulously, "Mr. Stewart, how do you, obviously someone who takes this hobby so seriously, make such an amateur mistake so often that you have to get someone else in to check your work?" And he just very matter of fact said, "Oh, it's because I'm colourblind."
Which is new information.
Yeah, because I should mention, people know this now, but prior to 2014, nobody knew that Rod Stewart was colourblind. It's not a big deal, it's just the fact that he has this condition and has had it his entire life, and it's never been mentioned anywhere except for in Model Railroader magazine. And also, because Model Railroader magazine isn't exactly a widely read publication, nobody heard about this outside of the circle of model train enthusiasts who didn't give a shit about him being colourblind because they wanted to read more about his trains. So the wider public and news didn't know about it until a year later when his daughter mentioned it in an interview. And after that, someone asked him, "So, Stewart, why have you never talked about you having this condition before and how it's affected your life?" And he responded, "I'm surprised nobody noticed earlier, considering how I've dressed for the past 4 decades. Surely someone somewhere noticed how shitty I am at coordinating colours." What you can do now, Brad, to illustrate that quote from Rod Stewart is just put a selection of some of his more eclectic outfits he's worn over the years behind us so we can see how shit he is at coordinating colours. Do you know what my favourite part about that quote from Rod Stewart is, though?
What?
That his daughter came out and said, "Yeah, I agree that it's weird that nobody noticed he was colourblind all these years, especially after that one time he accidentally painted his house bright orange." Because apparently one year he went, "Oh, I want to paint my house," and just painted it orange.
What colour do you reckon he thought it was?
I don't know. But obviously, with him being a huge big rock star, people thought he was just being weird and eccentric. And he was just looking and going, "Oh, what a marvellous white house I've got here." And all his neighbours are saying, "Mate, your house looks so shit." And he's just going, "Why is everyone saying my house looks shit? It looks just like his. It's the same colour as the head." It's the exact opposite of what most celebrities do. It's I want to live a low-key life so no one can figure out where I live. It's where's Rod Stewart live? How about in that big whack-off orange house over there? It's like he lives in Balamory.
What's the story in Balamory? Wouldn't you like to know? What's the story in Balamory? Where would you like to go?
Do you know what my favourite bit about Balamory is?
What?
The guy who lived in the big pink castle is now a comedian.
Archie
on
the
Mock
Inventor.
Week. Miles Job.
Miles Job, yeah.
He's the guy who always loses his shit on 8 out of 10 cats.
Two
Miles?
big, yeah, I'm with you.
So has Rod Stewart being colourblind ever had a negative impact on his life?
According to him, no, because he's a rock star and you don't really need to be able to see colour all that well to be a rock star. And if anything, it probably helped his career because all those mad outfits he wore helped him, stay in the press and the tabloids for so many years. However, according to Stewart, there was one point in his life where he found it a bit difficult to be colourblind, and that was when he was 15 and he had a job, and I'm not making this up, designing and selling wallpaper. This led Rod Stewart to make another amazing quote, which is, "If you are colourblind, one of the things you can't be is an airline pilot. One of the other things you can't be is a wallpaper designer." Because no fucking shit you can't.
So for the audience at home, this isn't a bit, is it?
No, I genuinely love Rod Stewart. Brad can confirm that I walked into the room to record this morning listening to Rod Stewart's Do You Think I'm Sexy? And went to him, you know what, let's just do the Rod Stewart article today because I'm in a proper Rod mood today.
It's like, I always know it's going to be a good recording session when he comes in dancing.
It's always the best, because I love it. It's because my dad listened to all his music when I was a kid, and I think I've mentioned it before, but my dad likes to replace words of songs with his own name, because he's called Stewart. So, do you think I'm sexy? He'd always sing, "Do you think I'm sexy?" in the car. And it always cracked me up just to hear him go, "Do you think I'm sexy?" in the car. It's like, Dad, stop please. And he's like, no, this is my car, I can do what I want. But oh man, holy shit, I love Rod Stewart so much. I remember the days just driving and my dad's super impressed a Black Mamba, watching Roger the Invisible Kangaroo fly alongside us, just listening to some Rod. The thing is though, my love of Rod Stewart has actually come and bitten me in the arse once, because I remember an ex-girlfriend of mine was talking about, who's your celebrity crush? And we were going through and we got to music. Arse went, Grace fucking Jones. And you can put up the picture of Grace Jones. And the reason why is because holy shit, is that a terrifying looking woman. That's the woman who says we're going to bed and you're like, okay, Grace Jones. And I love the fact she used to date Dolph fucking Lundgren. And I always think like, that is Grace Jones, giant ass Amazon-esque, statuesque, giant big black lady, teaming up with Dolph Lundgren, the Swedish man mountain. If they had had kids, they would be the most perfect caramel babies ever. They are the most top tier babies ever. And she just went really nervously, oh, mine's kind of embarrassing. And she went, no, it's Rod Stewart. And I went, oh, fucking yeah, it's Rod Stewart. And she thought I was taking the piss. And she didn't speak to me for a week. Because my enthusiasm for her having a crush on Rod Stewart was seen as me taking the piss out of her fancying one of the sexiest men alive. So fuck you, Rod Stewart. My love of Rod Stewart once didn't get me laid because I agreed with how sexy he was. Damn it. And then he was probably playing with his model trains. He didn't give a shit.
Maybe she ran away to Rod Stewart.
I want to be mad. I want to be mad.
I'd understand it completely.